flavor. Print as the mic.
Greetings, what's up? What's going on? Your boy Big Frank. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this may find you in the world, in the universe. What it is, what's up? You're inside the Just Conversations, and I got somebody here to have just that, a great conversation. But you know how we do. Like, subscribe, share, let people know that we are here. Rock with us this morning. We got to set the tone. I know what we do. All right. Be inspired, be encouraged, be uplifted. Anything is possible. You have the drive, the tenacity. You can make it happen. So dismiss all this extra conversation on the outside. Dismiss all this negative stuff that's coming in. You have the power to make change happen. So do what you got to do and stop second guessing yourself and stop questioning yourself. You got me? That was my moment of inspiration for y'all because we got an interview today with my boy. I'm gonna try to butcher your name because I still feel like I'm gonna mess up. But Lawrence Blaeber.
Yeah,
Come on, my guy.
it.
Yes, sir.
We got it. We got it.
Yo.
Listen. Don't worry. It's been Blaeber, Blaeber, Blatter, Blazer, Blazer. It's okay. My wife still goes by her maiden name for a particular. I'm pretty sure that's the reason.
No, it makes it. It makes it. So real quick, just to do me a favor. Just introduce yourself, who you are, and just what you do currently.
I'm Lawrence Blaeber. I'm a realtor. Do a little bit of property management, but 716-501-5933 if you're looking to buy or sell a house, even do apartments. I'm a father of two, married, and I'm running for school board.
So, what was your motivation for running for school board? Why did you choose that? Why did you make that decision to go for school board?
Well, I'm fighting the school board tooth and nail for my kids as it is.
Yeah.
And then once you realize how we're overall failing our kids, and I've done everything that I can do privately to try and move the needle on that. Like I've brought experts. I've introduced them to some of the best people. I've gone to school board meetings. I've spoken to them. I've had private meetings with them. And they don't believe in this city and these people like I do.
Yeah. I've heard you in conversation both at City Hall meetings, but also at the Entrepreneur School of Thought. I think that was the first occasion that I think I ran into you. We didn't really exchange conversation, but I heard you talk about the needs for children. I think it was Mark Laurie who had came into Entrepreneur School of Thought, and he was just having a dialogue about what ideas and what plans they had in place. And I heard your dialogue just to really be a representative for you, not just your children, but children in general, and how we can make things happen. And I want to first commend you for being vocal and being an active parent, because I think sometimes some parents just be letting things fly.
Yeah.
You know, we're not really having a fire or tenacity to be like, hey, I think that my child deserves this. We just like whatever the school do, we'll do. So as a parent, how many children do you have? You said how many children?
I have
two. Now, as a parent, how old are they?
8 and 5.
8 and 5.
The girl's 8, the boy's 5.
What are certain things that you feel are missing? That might be a long list.
No, it's a good lead. And well, a bit of my background, why I was able. I don't talk. I think I've said in city council, but I'm a bit like one of these Jason Statham movies, not just because I'm bald and beard, but like I got 3 degrees from NU.
Yeah.
I moved back to New York City. I took the Coral New York Leadership Program that's sponsored by the city government to train up new leaders to follow, and almost all of us end up going into city government or running like the local bids and all of that stuff. So I had all of that training, and then I ran into the issue with my daughter. My daughter's dyslexic.
Yes.
Okay. And my 5-year-old son is autistic.
Yes.
Level 3 nonverbal. So once I discovered that my daughter was dyslexic. Quick tip too, since we're both talking as black men, we need to find out the family history.
Yes.
Like a lot of times people tell you grandma died, you ask why, everybody's like, just let her rest in peace. Why are you asking those questions? I found out my uncle was dyslexic.
Oh wow.
And it's genetic. I wish I would have known that, so I would have been on the lookout more.
Yeah.
But nobody tells you these family things.
No valid, for sure.
Until you're in it. So so that's why and in my fight, I found out that we are teaching the kids the wrong curriculum.
Wow.
And there's a curriculum that works for every kid,
Yeah.
dyslexic and non-dyslexic, that will increase our test scores dramatically, right? But they don't want to do it.
Yeah. Now, so recently, maybe even about a month ago, we found out that my daughter is autistic as well, and she has she I think stage 3 as well. And having that conversation with the people who are coming to check in, the therapists and everybody, I just realized that there's more required now for her than was given in her development in school currently. Meaning that she's in school, she's seeing a therapist, but it's like one off every now and again, versus realizing that she needs more consistently. But my thing is that as parents, even in the Black community, I was going to do a podcast that talked about finding out your child has autism and getting an understanding of what that looks like, how does that feel emotionally, and then also trying to figure out what tools are really necessary and what can we do as parents to make sure that we're giving our child the best of things. And all that is all a part even of the educational process of, hey, is this school positioned and postured to aid the needs of my children?
Well, you see, like for me, my son goes to school out in Amherst.
Wow.
Because once we found out, and again, I use my political experience, and my wife is a great help in research, and you start finding out policies and rules. There are all types of things that you can find out, right? But it's like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
And so now he goes to a very special school. Unfortunately, it's short. It's from like 8:30 to 1.
Gotcha.
But he gets like every day he's getting speech therapy. Every day he's getting physical therapy. He's in a class. It's a special learning style that he's progressing. And like these are the things that people don't know.
Yeah.
And nobody tells them because it's an expense.
Yes.
It's an absolute expense. I don't remember what I was listening to this podcaster, right? I think it was Black Kids with Dyslexia or something. And they were talking about how like they're in Baltimore, and although the population is like 20% white, the amount of kids who get the special services to go out to these special schools is 80% white.
Oh wow.
Right. And that's just for dyslexia. I can't imagine for autism.
Yeah.
It falls in the same thing because people don't know. So people don't know, so you don't know your rights. So everybody just kind of is like, well, I guess this is what I've got.
Yeah.
And it's not. And we as a community also have a lot of hangups around mental abilities.
Yes.
The idea that our kid is going to get labeled as special ed and just get thrown in the janitor's closet and never get serviced. The school district isn't that bad, but it's also got loads of room for improvement.
For sure.
Because it's not that ready. And some school districts do much more internal testing. So you know ahead of time. It's not something's off and you got to go take them to the doctor and find out. No, they pick up that something's wrong and they ask your permission to test the kid. Right. All of this is covered.
Yeah. So all these components, I know they aid to your desire to now run for a school board seat. But what was the day was like, you know what? I'm gonna run. Like
my villain origin story started with one of the other candidates. I came up there and our group discussed a couple of the issues, right? I'm one of the many groups I'm part of. I'm also part of the Niagara Community Information Group. And I thank them for their role in the candidate forum, right? And then somebody spoke regarding our issues as parents and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then Claire Dunn goes and says, I'm not going to pretend that we have a bad school district. We have one of the better school districts, and I've talked to other people, and this is, I've been busy, and I'm not a good video editor.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get the clip up to my Facebook site so people can see this is how they treat parents, Black parents who have questions. And then I came up the next time they spoke, I was like, this isn't how you treat people. I'm a Black parent with 2 special ed kids. This is like within my industry as a realtor, that makes you double special.
Yeah.
And not trying to be facetious, but like, one of the federal trainings is the 9 protected classes, age, sex, all of that.
Yeah.
And you have to pay attention to race and special needs and stuff like that. And I was called rude and disrespectful. I'm like, I'm out here fighting for my kids.
Yeah.
And every other kid like them. And rather than be open-eared, the first time you fix your face to say anything, since I've been coming to these school board meetings for months, is to bash me for demanding better of you. Yeah. That was probably the moment I was like, okay, I'm done with these people.
Gotcha. Listen, we're locked into Just Conversation with your boy Big Frank. Listen, we're gonna get more dialogue because I want to talk about some of the more challenges that you had in this race or getting into this pathway. But we'll talk about that when we get back. It's going down. Your boy Big Frank. We'll be right back. A word from our sponsor. Don't go nowhere. Call a neighbor, call a friend. We got more conversation happening with Lawrence Blaeber. Huh? Watch this. I'll say it loud every time.
Menthol is not just a flavor. It's a manipulative way for big tobacco to target, attract, and addict Black Americans. Tobacco companies aggressively market menthol products using elements of Black culture, putting more products on shelves in Black communities and making them cheaper. And it's not just an injustice, it's killing us. Smoking-related illnesses are the #1 cause of death in the African American community. Help us fight this injustice at Not Just
Greetings, family. Welcome back to Just Conversations. Your boy Big Frank. We are talking to Lawrence Blaeber. I'm gonna say it loud every time because I got it. Our conversation is just talking about his desire to occupy a seat in the school board. He's running for a seat, but he was talking about one of his challenges that he faced that really motivated him to be like, you know what, there needs to be a change. But what other challenges have you faced in this process of running for the school board seat?
Well, the school board it's a short run up.
Yeah.
It's an off, like, when it's May 20th. Like, when people aren't geared up. Everybody is geared up for elections in November. So May 20th is hard. Like last year, 800 people was the winner's number, right?
Yeah.
800. I think the second place was like 725. The school board budget is like 203 million. And you tell me all it took was like 725 people voting for one guy, and that was on the seat. Yeah. So like that is the thing. Plus, I've been in Niagara Falls about 9 years.
Yeah.
No, 7. We've been married 9 years. My daughter's 8, and I've been here 7. That's
you better than me.
It's the yearly difference. That's how I keep it in my head. But yeah, so people know a couple of people know me, but a lot of people don't know me. So I've had to have a lot of my surrogates were coming from local. So I'm getting around to some of the churches. I'm trying to schedule listening sessions at Doris Jones and things of that nature.
I like that because I have even though I'm clergy and I love the Lord Jesus Christ, that's my A1 from day one. I have a concern when it comes down to the position of the church when it comes down to politics now. Now, my one concern is probably obvious. I'm not looking for those to come into the church on Sunday morning to speak and feed lies for our vote, and then we don't see you no more at all. But I think to create a space where families can come and communicate with you their concerns and what they're facing, and doing it even at the Resource Center, are commemorable things because that space has to be provided for.
Yes.
But also I hold my pastors and preachers accountable to provide that space consistently. So when you do come, that this isn't a ploy, just vote for me, pick me, but it's a space where what challenges are you facing? What difficulties do you have in your household with your children that can be addressed? Because there's been different concerns among families in the school board and the high school and these things, but if there's no true space to be able to articulate, like you said in your moments ago, that you went to articulate some things, and what you got back was harsher or an attack on you.
Yeah.
And I think that having a space where people can come and communicate their weights, their burdens, and concerns is very important. So what is let's just assume you take the seat. What are you hoping to accomplish as a member? Like what are some major things that you're going to try to push to make
the
happen?
number one thing, first of all, a lot of people don't understand school board.
Yes.
Okay, I can't take over the superintendent. I don't do superintendent stuff. I don't do administrative stuff. You have a problem with your child's teacher, I can't necessarily help you there.
Gotcha.
I have to look at overall the systemic who've gone up. What I can do is I become the boss of the superintendent. So I can't tell him, hey, listen, Big Frank's kid had an issue at Abbott. I need you to resolve it. What I can ask him is, why are our test scores so low at Abbott? Why are they consistently underperforming? That's what I can ask. And what I can ask is, and basically for him, and I can push for the admin, which I want to push, is, okay, we've been underperforming, right? Our literacy rate is 20% for our third graders. Only 20% of our third graders are reading at a third grade level.
Wow.
And our eighth graders is 25. I want you to understand, people, because people will quibble, oh, it's 20, there's this test, there's that. Even if you doubled our number, we'd still be dead last in the county.
Oh, wow.
North Tonawanda is 8th, or what is 9th, because we're 10th. North Tonawanda is 9th at 41%.
Wow.
That's how bad we are. Okay, so that is unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I would ask is, what is the goal to get us from there to at least top 4?
Yeah.
What are the milestones to get us there? What are the benchmarks, right? And at what point are you willing to shake up your staff to get us there? Because that's the hardest problem here, is people will be like, well, we've done all we can. I'm sorry, we're still at 20%. You haven't done all you can.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just want to highlight, when you talk about, you brought up everything's possible and all that. I just went to see this wonderful lady speak, preacher's daughter too, but she took her school district, started off in her as the principal, from 13% literacy to 100%.
Wow.
Because it's possible if you believe.
Yes.
If you believe in these kids and these programs, you can. She went from principal to superintendent, got the school district to up to like in the 95s, where the only holdup were kids who had like serious issues. Right. Oh, Rich, I'll send you the stats. I'm about to put it on the website. The city always hides the stats.
Yes.
The city always hides the stats, but they always do events. I got some other information for you on that. But yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
You have to change how you teach the kids and the way you teach these kids. But don't sit there and tell me that we're just going to throw our hands up and assume 80% of these kids can't do it. Like, I've heard people say, people in the education or in the Department of Education here say, well, you know, it's just this area. It's just the poverty. It's just the parenting. And I always bring up, I'm like, you're graduating people who can't read.
Right.
So how can I even if I come in and get a job in construction, you know, people can say, yo, Frank, you were killing it, man. You ever thought about being a foreman or a supervisor? You got to take a test.
You got to take a test, and that's what we.
And you can't pass it.
Can't pass it because you can't read it right.
Yep.
And I think that, you know, people use poverty as an excuse, but if you're not teaching our children properly, you'll keep us right there. Keep us right there. So, in your candidacy in this pursuit, who are the individuals that are running for the same seat, and what are some of the point of views you have concerning these people?
Right now, I don't know anybody else. When I signed up, it was the two incumbents, Russell Petrozzi and Claire Dunn. They're running like as a pair, like Skarsky and Hutch or something, and myself.
Okay.
I don't know. We have until the end of this month
to
submit the paperwork, so I don't know if there going to be anybody late to the thing to get in. So we'll see.
and I want to be careful here. I've seen some other names for school board. I just have to verify if that was Niagara County, Erie County. But I've seen some names mentioned. I've seen them, and I'll do my due diligence and come back. But I think that there's, and I don't really choose sides. But when certain things haven't been working for quite some time, there has to be an adjustment. There has to be a change because,
according to these guys, the problem is the parents. The problem is the parents. The problem is the poverty. I'm listening to Claire Dunn speak at the last meeting, right? Well, they had one just this Thursday, normally 2 weeks. The one week before from yesterday, and she's talking about how they're all defending how they're good. It's a thankless job. I'm like, it's public service. All public service is thankless.
Yeah.
There was a guy who was part of the IRS cuts who was busting up PDO rings, but people are separating because he was IRS and he got fired. That's what public service means. It's a thankless job.
Yeah.
You know, so they're saying they're doing good and people don't recognize it. They're like, we've got all of these college programs start. Only 20% of your kids can take these college programs.
Yeah.
The other 80% aren't ready, are going to have to pay money for zero credit courses to coach them up. I mean, so for me, the problem I have with those two is different. Russ, I don't have a problem with him personally, but one of the people that I follow, right, Anita Hanlon, one of the things she talked about was her best friend, who they went to brunch on Saturdays all the time. They didn't speak for a year and a half because she threatened to write her up because her best friend didn't believe in the philosophy and said, I got to write you up. And she's like, how can you do this? How can you make me do this? And Russ has been around forever. He's like the granddad to have. He knows everybody's granddad or dad in over half the city. So can he have those hard conversations with the superintendent and staff that this is not acceptable? And I'm going to have to, we're going to have to start doing drastic things. And then you've got Claire Dunn, who she traded in her status as a community leader to be on that board. Because if you look at it, in 2018, she tried to run, came fifth, 5 out of 7. 2019, they have interviews to replace Bob Rosino, and she selected. Why? I'm probably sure she traded her influence to help him get elected. And he wrote her a glorious recommendation letter. And then in 2020, after finishing his 1 year, it's the COVID year, and they run as a pair, and they get in. But in 6 years, our schools keep failing. There's something in New York State standards called targeted support intervention, right? That means basically the state has given you one tech. You get that if for more than 3 consecutive years, a subgroup has finished bottom 10th in the state. Subgroup meaning black kids, mixed race kids, brown kids, poor kids, English as a second language. 9 out of our 11 schools have done that in their terms.
Wow.
9 out of 11. So it's happened. And they don't take any accountability for the fact that that's happened on their watch. They're saying that it's the parents. And that really bothers me because, again, people like to knock the prevalence, the lack thereof of black dads. Like I just saw a photo of it. You know, there's Sears showing family pics, and it's a full white family. And then for the black family, it's the mom and 2 kids. So here I am as a black dad. You should be like, okay, you're a perfect example. Let's work with you to start setting a new standard and show people the kind of involved parent we want. Oh, no, you're the wrong kind of involved parent. You're asking questions about if we're doing the right job. We just need you at the bake sales and to chaperone these events and all of that.
I think it comes with a greater responsibility. Like I said, I'm because even as a parent, I haven't gone to a board meeting. That's not something, city hall meeting is one thing, the board meeting, you haven't gone. I believe in holding both parties responsible. There's a responsibility that the community has. There's the responsibility that those who hold seats have. And they both have to do their due diligence. But you can't just blame one. Good morning, Christina. You can't just blame one and be like, oh, this is their fault. No, collectively. But as a board, what have we presented to aid and to assist the families to be able to be a part of what needs to happen?
Here's the thing, they do these skin deep community engagement events, right? Oh, we're having a book night, come blah blah blah. I don't necessarily knock these, but when I went to the PEG meeting, right, their parent engagement group meeting, I was like, can we talk about the test scores? Oh, this isn't the place for it. So I went to the district parent engagement group meeting. Can we talk about the test scores? This ain't the place for it. So where is the place?
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
You know,
that's real.
And this is the thing, right? They hide the scores.
Yeah.
They absolutely hide the scores. And one of the things that a lot of people believe in, right, is if we're going to do this, it starts with transparency and accountability. And a huge part of it is these are the scores. This is where we stand. Yeah. And we're all to blame. Parents, teachers, admin, school board leaders, community leaders, we're all to blame. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to fail a child. So we all have to accept that. But, you know, like a drunk, once you accept you have a problem, that's when we can get to work. Because once you accept you have a problem, you know, we're not staying here.
Yeah, valid, for sure.
You know, but they don't want to have that hard conversation.
Yeah.
You know, they do things, and this is what really frustrates me, right? They'll be a TSI for failing Black kids, but then they'll do the HBCU thing, the Martin Luther King event in like April, and then they'll get Black parents to fill a survey. How do you feel? It's like, oh, well, this was good. Yeah, they're not too bad, but and it's because of that survey and that time that they never get into more trouble because they know that if people found out that we were failing these kids at this rate.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to when you definitely get those how to find those results, those scores. Make sure you send it to me so I can post it as well, because I think that sometimes we don't know. We assume that, oh, we're doing all right, they're doing good. The reality is that they are not.
No.
And we're not putting pressure on them. But listen, y'all, you're locked into Just Conversation with your boy Frank and Lawrence Blaeber. I'll say it like that every time. And listen, we're not done yet. We have a few more things I want to discuss. But listen, we're going to take a quick break. Do me a favor, share, let somebody know what's going on. He is running for a seat for the school board, looking to make some things happen. So listen, stay with us, rock out. We'll be right back. It's going down. Just Conversations.
Menthol is not just a flavor. It's a manipulative way for big tobacco to target, attract, and addict Black Americans. Tobacco companies aggressively market menthol products using elements of Black culture, putting more products on shelves in Black communities and making them cheaper. And it's not just an injustice. It's killing us. Smoking-related illnesses are the #1 cause of death in the African American community. Help us fight this injustice at notjustmenthol.org.
Greetings and salutations. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever this may find you in the world and in the universe. You're locked into Just Conversation with your boy, Big Frank Handley, Frank J. Handley Jr. Yeah, Lawrence asked with the J.
Junior and Junior.
J. Quan. Yeah, I mean, from the block. No, keep out. Our conversation is because Lawrence is on the petition or on the ballot already for the school board. But how can we truly support you? What does that look like?
One, make sure everybody knows that the election is May 20th.
Yes.
Get out and vote. I have a Facebook page up, Lawrence Blaeber for School Board. I will send that to you so everybody can look at that. And you can see me doing. I've done a couple other podcasts. You're not my first.
Yes, it's all right.
We still cool. But one of the podcasts I did is I speak with two people who've been very successful in changing. One's Kareem Weaver. He was the star of the movie The Right to Read. You may not know. I actually a year ago I think I hosted that a year and a half ago at the theater there. The movie's produced by LeVar Burton. That's on YouTube. And Brett Tingley, who was the mom who helped get Read and Recovery get kicked out of her school district. That's something I just want to back up and explain. Part of the reason we have these low test scores is we're using a curriculum called Read and Recovery, they call it whole word literacy. It doesn't teach the kids to read properly. I think a lot of parents don't understand how reading has changed, but the days when you could break up the word to understand how it is pronounced are no longer really being taught.
Wow.
They're teaching people to look at the word and look at the image, and you'll figure out what it is. But that doesn't work the older you get, and there's less pictures. And so we're at a stage where we're at about 20%, which makes sense because only 20% of our population are comfortable with that. Like 20% of our population will be successful regardless of the curriculum.
Wow.
The other 80% need the science of reading. That's what it's called, the science of reading.
Yeah.
You can look this up. True story. The science of reading is based on something called Project Follow Through. They did a whole study, the government, and then scrapped the information pretty much, where they took kids from all over, poor black kids, middle-class black kids, poor kids from Indian reservations, rich white kids, middle-class white kids, poor white kids, and they studied their brains as they taught them how to read and how to do math, and they found the way to do it universally.
Wow.
But it didn't have enough sell, because it became these reading words, science of reading versus whole word literacy and whole word one, and now we're stuck with the ramifications. Half of the American public can't read their medication.
Now that's valid, and I'm not saying I can't remember my medication, but I can identify when you talk about reading recovery. I can identify it, but I didn't put the equation together that is taking away the ability to like sound out the word or to put words together. And I see it just because I can look at the image, this is what it is, versus really understanding how this word comes together. And I never thought that to be a challenge until you just mentioned it now. But my question or my statement now is, how many other parents currently don't see this as a bad teaching? Because to them it looks like, oh, you know what this is? A is for apple. Well, we know how to identify the word on imagery, but I still don't know how to read.
I don't think the vast majority of parents don't know because we haven't been to school in a while. So we don't pay attention. That's one. And two, we have this thing where we're kind of like assuming that teaching, they know what to teach. Like it's the days of the Western. It's the teacher, classroom. Yeah. You just pay attention, Frank, and but how do you pay attention when you can't read? This is what leads to the violence in schools, kids dropping out. We have a high rate of kids not going to school. You want to know why we have a high crime rate? And I know the block will always have work, whether you can read or not.
Valid.
Our teen pregnancy rate went up 10%. We also know, we talk about boys getting into drugs and violence. Girls, when they can't read, they recede. They're less active in schools, less that. And now, like everybody else, especially, they're looking for positive reinforcement, which they're gonna get from teenage boys.
For sure.
And then that's a huge bad mix there. So part of people ask me why I'm running for school board and not city council. Half of what ails the city starts with the fact that our school board is failing our students and we're not producing productive members. And that's not a slam, but like I said, if you can't read, then you're stuck in an entry-level job, whether it's Arby's or construction, and you can't get out. So how are you supposed to do better for your family?
Right.
Then you have to take on more hours or a second job. Then as a dad, you're home less for your kids.
Absolutely. So it's really education is the core, what needs to be corrected.
Yeah. And this includes everything. You want to get property values up? First thing, when I deal with these couples, right? Everywhere. In Williamsville, what's the taxes? That's what the husband asks, right? What's the school board? What's the school district in? Oh, this is number one in Western New York. Oh, really? Bam. That's why their homes are worth like 3 times the value of ours.
Wow.
So you've got that. You want your home values to increase. We improve our school ranking, and we'll do that. Why do you think Newport School District, Star Point, and Wheatfield have more expensive homes because of that. And then when you're recruiting development, one of the first things that they look to is what is the level of education of the people that I will possibly work for me.
Yeah. Ricardo says, how can a layman help improve literacy in Niagara Falls for all our community members?
Well, there's several programs me and my wife have been researching and we're trying to bring out. But one of the things she just worked with is I want to say yes. It's a program out of I'm sorry, I have to text her because she's gonna kill me if I get the name wrong. But it's called Say Yes. It's from the Say Yes people. And Read to Succeed. That's what it is.
Okay.
Read to Succeed. They take volunteers, they train the volunteers on the science of reading, and then they work with the school district to bring the volunteers in. So you have volunteer reading coaches.
Yeah.
They've been dying to break into the Niagara Falls market because they're saturated in Buffalo. And I met the leader, Ann Ryan, and I introduced her to my wife because my son's autistic. My wife's basically become a stay-at-home mom now. And she worked with Ann and met with the superintendent.
Wow.
And they're working to get to secure a little bit of funding. But Rich, I can definitely recommend it because that would be great because then you're in the schools taking these students out and you're being the reading coach, providing the reading. And it has proven success. It's not going to fix everything, but it's going to help increase it.
Valid. And I think that as a region, we need Say Yes. I'm familiar with just all the strength of working for them in Buffalo, Saturday Academy. And what they did was, there's a school day, but on Saturday Academy, there's fun activity, but there's also those programs that you're talking about that exist, which aids to the morale and the boost of our children getting what they need. And they would do it at multiple schools in the city of Buffalo. Buffalo's bigger, but we can take that same initiative. But I commend you for your willingness to even be bold enough to get yourself on the ballot, to put yourself in a position that we can expect something different. If anything you want to leave to the people before we get up out of here?
Yeah, I'm gonna come at my competitors again one more time to explain something to you. Right. I was listening to a podcast of a guy who does lawsuits against municipalities for lead paint. So like big cities, let's say Rochester Housing Authority or Buffalo Housing, those kinds of places, right? And when they win for a kid who's like 12 or 13, their biggest fight is for how much we pay the family. He goes for lost wages. He bases his around 5 to 6 million, right? Like this kid could have finished school at 18, gone on to college, right? Maybe a couple of years doing 30 to 50. And then by the time he's 27, 28, he could have made a job making 100,000 from 27 on to the age of 67, right? That's almost anywhere from 5 to 6 million, how you want it. The awards that these kids are given is 1.5 million, maybe 2. That's on average about 30,000 a year for the rest of this guy's life. Wow. So even without being poisoned by lead paint, the people just generally never believe this kid could be special, and do big things. And the only way you accept a 20% literacy rate for your school district and sit there and say you're not to blame is because you generally do not believe in these kids. You not believe that we have more doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects, and all types of IT specialists and all types of special kids in this school district. I've long believed one of the things is the head of, say, logistics for some of these drug cartels and the head of FedEx have probably equal understanding of logistics. It's just one never got the chance to go to college and get a fancy degree. And so that's what I believe. I believe our kids, given the opportunity, can achieve very big things. And we need to stop making excuses. Stop saying it's the poverty. Stop saying it's the parenting. Stop saying it's the trauma. I mean, other school districts are doing this. Seaford, Delaware is doing this. All right. Matthews, Georgia did this. Okay,
Wow.
These are other school districts that have turned it around. And the Seaford, Delaware thing really annoys me because I brought Kareem to the school district on a video conference, and he offered members of the school district to come down to Seaford and watch how they work, and they didn't send anybody. Anybody. And you think the school board is holding them to the feet to the fire?
Absolutely not. Now you're talking about there's been so many presentations of possibilities of increase for education, youth, and resources for our children that we have not taken advantage of. We have not attempted to try and to try to pursue, not just on the spectrum that you just brought up, but other people who I've talked to as well, that we're showing you vetted work that has worked. So I'm not asking you to reinvent the wheel. I'm asking you to apply the wheel.
Yes.
And we have not in so many areas. But listen, it's been a good conversation, good dialogue. Thank you for rocking with me this morning. We've been rocking out with your boy Big Frank. Just Conversations. We interviewed Lawrence Blaeber. Every time, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm gonna see you on the street like, what? Lawrence Blaeber. It's going down. But make sure you guys check out. Make sure you avail yourself to vote May 20th for the school board seats. Do not take it lightly, and also get involved in your children's education. Ask questions, and also if you need other resources, mention that, because as I sit here as a parent of three, one daughter with autism, and my children are beautiful, full of personality, and we are sometimes so proud as parents because they can identify a word based off a picture, but we haven't processed and it's great for a time, but can they sound out a word? That's just something I just didn't really consider. So now I have a desire to make sure that my children know how words are pronounced and put together so that they know how to read, know how to navigate. And that's your children the same thing, find out where they are. Find out if your child can read or not.
Listen, print out a 3rd grade reading passage and give it to your 3rd grader and ask them to read it. Print out a 5th grade one and print out an 8th grade one, because those are the 3 that we're listening. If you're trying to get a hold of me to try and join the team, I have the Lawrence Blaeber for School Board Facebook page. Please go on there. I have my Facebook one. If you have any questions, you want to DM me questions. I'm in this fight to win the school board. But if you're hearing this and you're just curious and have a question related to your kid, I'm here for you too. I've done this. We've been in this fight, and regardless of this outcome, I'm still going to be in this fight.
Valid.
Right? So, and I'm still going to be on the side of parents. But I believe we can win. And all I need is for people to get up and support me. And most importantly, as Kareem used to say, we have to realize this, because sometimes we look at other parents and say maybe they're this problem. Do you love your kids more than you dislike your neighbors? Because if you love your kids, let's all come together. We might have people we dislike, but let's all come together with that neighbor and we'll fight for the rights for our kids to have the higher scores in the in the county and become number 1 in Western Europe. It's absolutely possible. Don't let them tell you it's not possible. All right?
All right. Y'all heard it, man. Get it done. Make it happen, man. Change is happening, and it requires your input, your work. I'll holler at y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Make sure you check out Queen Rise Up podcast. We have Flight to Greatness podcast coming out today at 7 o'clock. And we got 2 more coming out next week. So make sure you tap in. Great things is happening. It's Just Conversation. Your boy, Big Frank. Last word from my sponsor. Y'all know what we do. I'll holler at y'all. Peace, love, and soul.
Menthol is not just a flavor. It's a manipulative way for big tobacco to target, attract, and addict Black Americans. Tobacco companies aggressively market menthol products using elements of Black culture, putting more products on shelves in Black communities and making them cheaper. And it's not just an injustice. It's killing us. Smoking-related illnesses are the #1 cause of death in the African American community. Help us fight this injustice at